What is survivorship bias? No, it's not about your ability to survive. It's a type of logical error where we only pay attention to the things or people that survived a process and we ignore those that did, and usually. Because those that didn't survive are no longer visible or around, which makes it hard to learn from their example. This leads us to an incorrect conclusion and often to overestimating the success of a certain event or person. For example, during World War II, fighter planes would return to the base with bullet holes in them. The analysts would then study where those bullet holes were located to figure out where to add more armor to protect the planes. At first, they saw that most of the bullet holes were on the wings and the tail of the planes, so that's where they focused on reinforcing. However, a statistician named Abraham Wald pointed out that this was wrong. He said that the reason why there were bullet holes on the wings and the tail is because those areas were not critical to the plane's function. The bullet holes were there because those parts could take the hits and still allow the plane to fly back home. But other parts of the plane, like the engine or the cockpit, were much more vulnerable. If those got hit, the plane wouldn't be able to fly back, and therefore those planes were never seen. So the analysts were only seeing the planes that survived, not the ones that were shot down. So they were making a decision based on incomplete information, and this is survivorship bias. When we only consider the survivors, we ignore the ones that didn't make it. And when we do that, we get an inaccurate idea of what actually happened. In business, it's easy to fall into survivorship bias when looking at competitors. We might only focus on the companies that are still standing, but ignore the ones that have failed. Yet those that have failed might have done something better or differently, so we don't learn from their example. Or we might think that a certain business is doing well just because we see it around, not realizing that there are many more businesses like it that have failed and we just do unsee them. In our personal lives, we can also fall victim to survivorship bias when looking at role models or success stories. Just because we see certain people or companies succeeding doesn't mean that they truly doing better than everyone else. It might just mean that we only see them because they survived. There are probably many more people who tried and failed that we don't know about. So remember, if you only consider the survivors, you're missing out on the full picture. Just because we don't see something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So next time you're making a decision, ask yourself, am I considering all the information, or am I suffering from survivorship bias? Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.